Hello and welcome to hobby vlog number 156. Now this week I've again, as last week, been struggling with motivation, and so I've not done as much as I would normally do over the past couple of years, but I do feel that coming back a little bit, particularly in the last couple of days. So you just roll with it, don't you, and do what you do. Now I've started this vlog with a little bit of a clip of a playthrough. This was really fun. I'm not going to put the entirety of it. I'll probably put out a separate video, maybe even next week, showing the whole game of the Night Cage, which is a game I backed on Kickstarter. Arrived a good while ago now, and I managed to get a game of it. So hopefully that's a nice little bit of a difference. But yeah, it's been a week where I've been spending a lot of time on Tawny, a lot of time working on that, because I've got lots of things I need to do, and I've just not really been wanting to make things physically, so I just haven't been. But as you'll see at the end of the video, it's starting to come back. It's starting to come back. So thanks for watching. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I'll shush now. I'll get you to what has happened this week, and I'll see you again at the end. After an attempt to take this on the road, when I didn't realise that I would need to have the actual mat to play it properly, I brought it back and I'm going to set myself up to play it here. I've read through the rules and really like how they read, and as you can see, I've set up the tile holder, which I'm about to fill, and I've also sorted through all of the tiles which are currently in that box there. And I need to sort them out. So these are the ones that you don't need, the discards you don't need for playing solo player. You only need those if you're going to play hard or with 5 players. And these are all the tokens that you'll need if you're going to play solo like I am, or between 1 to 4 players. So I'll get myself set up, and then I'll quickly talk you through the concept, and then what I'll do is I'm probably going to film pretty much every turn and try to make this an interesting video, but show you my first ever game of the Night Cage, because I've not played this yet, but it seems relatively simple. I probably speak too soon, but yeah. So let's get the setup going. So I'll move the camera slightly and talk you through how that works. Now I cannot win because I lost too many keys. I got quite close. I got 3 keys, and yeah, I didn't really use nerve. Nerve you can stay, and but then you might fall, but that could work in your advantage. So for example, if I was stuck up here and I stayed and I fell, and then I was able to drop myself onto a say for example this wasn't here and I was able to drop myself there, then I'd drop myself next to the key and hopefully be able to get to it. But yeah, enjoyed that. I think what I'm going to do, I'm going to get them painted up, and I'll try to do a slightly tighter, neater, better edited video for my next playthrough, but I just wanted to capture the whole of it really this time around. So I hope you really enjoyed that, and yeah, let's wrap up. That's my really fun introduction game of the Night Cage. I'm going to be painting these miniatures up because yeah, you really do need to have them painted so that you can track your turn order. So I just washed them yesterday, and what I'm going to do now is quickly prime them, and what I'll do, they're going to have a very, very basic paint scheme which will just basically mirror the colours on the cards. So there are 5 of these and there'll be 5 colours. So I'll get these primed up now. You can see I probably should have stuck these to something to hold them, but I was being a bit lazy, and laziness never really works out. Well, it can do, but hasn't worked out in this case. So anyway, so I'll paint these, prime these up, and then I've also got the keys as well, which I will also prime and paint these as rusty keys. So yeah, pretty cool, pretty happy with that. I will probably bring you along when I do the painting, just so you can see how I'm deciding to do it, just in case you want to have an inspiration if you're in this game. It did sell quite well, so I'm sure some of my viewers have it. But yeah, just going to prime these, paint them tonight I think, try and get them done. I want to have another game, and I want to film it properly next time. So yeah, let's wrap this up and get them primed, and I'll bring you along when I get to the painting. Well, I've managed to get the first wing on and finish the other filling that I said I was going to do, which is pretty cool. I've not put the spikes on the end of the wings because I figured that I would more than likely knock them off while I was assembling and putting the wings on. And I've actually done this in one go, so I've glued it and filled it on at the same time. So I've literally just finished putting the filler on. Yeah, getting there, pretty pleased to be honest. Really cool, looks great. I'm very, very happy. So hopefully tomorrow I'll get the final wing on and then we can start painting. I've been working away on these slowly in the background, slowly being the operative word, and you can see that I've managed to get the roofs done. So like I said, I worked around the edge of each of these trapdoors, and if I bring that up close you can see there's a gap around it, and that certainly looks good enough for me in terms of a wargaming bit of terrain. So I'll probably come along and put some silver pen onto where it should be done as metal. Spent quite a bit of time having to scrape down the sides so that these would fit right, but they do fit right now. I still have a load of these doors. I'm not totally sure whether I'm going to stick them in or just leave them off and use them on something else, because sticking them in will block up the entrances to a lot of these rooms. I stuck that one on already before I thought, but that's okay, I don't mind one of them. So yeah, so it's going pretty well. I think, like I say, if I leave the doors to one side, then I'm pretty much done on these two smaller buildings. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put a little bit of interest into the courtyard. So we've got the vine here, the trellis, and I'm going to put some growth on that. But I've also got some scrubland base ready and various other bits and pieces of base ready, which I'm going to make use of just to put a little bit of kind of interest. So how I'm going to do that is I've got the glue, the fast basing glue, which is the best thing to use for this sort of for Luke's basing material. We'll take the lids off, take the roofs off. You can see they all come out really nicely, which is great. And then I'm not going to put it everywhere. Bit of detritus. I'm just going to put it in some corners. So I'm going to put some blobs and spread it around a bit. Put some kind of like this, as you can see. Unfortunately, some of it didn't go back into the container, but you can see that we've got quite a nice little kind of like pattern going on there. I might do a couple more. I'm going to let that dry. I might do some more, and I might actually spread it out a bit more so that they become lumps, and I put a little bit of different style of a different one of Luke's things. Maybe the Mediterranean soil might work quite nicely. So I will let that dry, and I'll bring you along for when I get to the next step. And once this is all done, then I'll do the vine. But yeah, we're getting quite close to finishing this project, which is good. Well, this is pretty cool to have got this done. I've got a little bit of filling, as you can see, along this seam here, but pretty much, apart from the things on the wings back there, this is nearly ready for painting, which is really, really cool. So I'll do the filling and I'll glue those little spikes, the claws or whatever they are on the back. And then what we'll do is we'll start priming and painting. So I've obviously got the base, which I haven't yet started to paint either, and I do also have Bilbo. Now I think I'm going to paint Bilbo actually on the base. I think that's going to be a really good way of doing it. So I might just take these two little bits of flash off the sides, and then not bother about, and then I've got this I can hold him on, and that'll work really, really nicely. So I need to wash him. I think I can't remember if I washed him or not, so I'm going to give him a wash as well. But yeah, very, very close to finishing, or to get to the next step, which is painting. So that's really cool. So yeah, pretty happy about that, particularly with how I've been struggling the last couple of weeks to even get moving to do anything. So having something to make for Rosie is clearly going to be the best motivation for me to get off my backside and do something. So yeah. So I actually clean forgot to put the camera on, but I've done the extra basing that I said I was going to do with the Mediterranean. That works a lot better, and I wish I should have done that initially, but it doesn't matter. It's going to look a little bit dirtier than I want it to. But the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put what I call my Easter foliage, which is in this nice big red bucket here. So just take the lid off this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue some, not lots, but just some, maybe even just that much, to the top of that part there, so that it looks like it's got some grapes going on. So I will glue that down with super glue and then show you what it looks like when it's finished. Well, I decided to put the camera on while I was doing that. I'm quite glad I did, because that turned out to be a bit of a pain. Hopefully that will stick, but we'll find out. I'm going to leave it alone now. But the super glue wasn't as good as I thought it was going to be, unfortunately. So I went to the Luke's basing glue, which is quite grabby. Quite like that normally. So hopefully that will work. What I can do anyway after I've done this is soak it with some PVA, just to make sure that it's got a little bit more kind of like grabbing it. And once it's dried, I'm also going to make that one here just go down a little bit more, rather than at the moment it's sticking out a bit much. But yeah, feels good to be getting this a little bit more progressed, so I'll bring you back when I get to the next step. Well, a month after I hope to finish this, because it was supposed to be for the previous Paint All the Minis competition, and the following one, which I actually did the theme for, has just finished, and I never even got to enter for that, which is really annoying. But anyway, I've managed to finish the painting for my Frost Giant. And I'm relatively happy with how he's turned out. If it will focus, yes it will. I quite like how he looks. So what I'm going to do now, and more on camera, I'm going to do the base. So, but I'll quickly talk you through. It's quite a lot of contrast paints and normal Vallejo paints, and I am quite happy with how he looks. I did some of this on an awesome paint and chat with my mate Tim, which is always a pleasure. I need to get that another one organised, to be honest. But yeah, pretty cool to have finished it. So the base it comes with is this tiny little thing here, and I'm actually not sure whether I might do a different base, because I'm not doing it for Kings of War, I'm doing it as a display piece. So I might look out a different base. I want to have it snowy, obviously, and a little bit of an interesting look to it. So I'll bring you along when I do that, but I thought I'd quickly show you what this looks like, because yeah, I mean, it's a cool model. I've got the other one, the non-Frost Giant, the normal Giant to do, which I might do next as well. I might do that as well, put these two together. Might get this into a little game of Anthems of War. That'd be pretty cool, wouldn't it? Well, I'm sat here priming Smaug with a very small brush, as you can see, tiny brush, just watching some YouTube videos and chilling out. Still not confident on the airbrush, and I don't want to do this as my first airbrush model, so I'm just going to do it with the paintbrush, which will take a little bit longer, but I'm a little bit more confident with it, obviously. So yeah, it's good to be putting some paint on this finally. I still haven't done the spikes on the end of the wings. I actually just sat here painting and realised, so I'll probably get those glued on as well once I've finished this painting session. I'm not going to prime the whole thing in one, for the very obvious reason that it's going to be wet, so I can't turn it over and prime the bottom. So I'm just going to prime what I can while I've got a little bit of time now. It's a nice low impact hobby thing, and but yeah, it's priming up nicely actually. I do like priming with a brush. You can get everything in exactly, whereas if you use a spray can, it just covers everything but the model sometimes. But anyway, onwards. So it's time to start a new project. I am sponsoring the bottom table at Ardacon next year, to Ardacon 2023. Tickets are available. Go to torn.ee/Ardacon. I'll try and remember to put a link in the description below, and you'll be able to buy your tickets there. But yeah, so I'm sponsoring the bottom table because I always play on the bottom table, and I wanted to do something really cool and fun this time, so I've missed going. I've had a couple of ideas for what tables to do. One of them was like a village with a big pub in the middle, and the other one was a ruined amphitheatre with quite a lot of kind of ruins and that sort of thing all over it. And I've fallen towards doing the ruined amphitheatre. So what I'm going to do here, what you can see here, this is I'm going to build a kind of like semicircular ramped seating area, and have that as being kind of part of the terrain. We'll probably put an archway through it, so that there'll be a little bit of like a fun to play through. Damage it quite a lot, so I'll build it and then probably tear it apart. And then I'll do another couple of bits of scattered masonry which could have come from the same. I'll also do some do a stand of trees. I'm going to make some trees for this, and I've got another couple of other bits and pieces of ideas to make it quite interesting. So we're going to start off by doing the section of seating or standing or whatever it is that I want to do. I've got some thick XPS here, and I've just got a big circular shape that I've got from some cardboard from somewhere. So I'm going to draw around this, and then cut that out. So I'll probably do it towards one side so I don't get quite as much waste. And then I will basically, that'll be the bottom, and then I'll cut another one which is a little bit narrower and a little bit narrower and a little bit narrower, so probably 4 banks, maybe 4 banks at the most, and then glue them on top of each other, and that will be how I'll make this. So I am going to draw around it like so. One of the benefits of making ruins is it doesn't matter if it looks a little bit rubbish, because, well, it's ruined, isn't it? So there's a top tip: if you're not confident in your building ability, make a ruin. And I am going to cut this out with a knife because that's what I want to do. Like I say, it's going to be ruined, and I think this will give me the right look. So we'll just run the knife around. You'll notice I'm not trying to cut all the way through. Yeah, so I'll get the rest of this done off camera, draw the next shape, and when I'm coming to stack them and put them together, I'll bring it back. Okay, so as you can see, I've managed to do 2 levels. It looks very rough, but like I said in the intro, it doesn't matter because this is ruins, and I'm going to split this up into more than one section anyway, so I just want to get the basic shape. And I thought I'd quickly show you how I'm going about doing and making the inner arch. I mean, there's a lot of waste on this project, unfortunately, but it's not going to be waste because I won't throw it away, as you know me. So that would sit over the top like that, as you can tell. And what I've been doing is going around with this 90-degree set square, whatever, and marking on roughly in inches. So if we have a look at this, you can see that is at 2 inches. So technically I should have just done this next level out of a 1-inch section, and I'm actually even wondering whether I'm going to do more and whether that's high enough. But what I've been doing is going, you can just see there's a line there, is going around and just putting a dot like this, and then joining it up and then cutting it by hand. Now I've not done it all that superbly. You can see if I was looking for 2 inches, then that should be kind of coming round here. So I probably will recut that because that's a bit egregious, and it gets back in line there. So yeah, so you can actually see how I'm doing this, putting it into 90 degrees and putting dots, which makes it a lot easier for me to do the cut accurately. So when I do that twice, because if we have a look at this one, I would do for this. I mean, it's going to be silly. This I might do it as an upper wall and cut it in half. So it's just going to be a 1-inch. It's going to be a 1-inch ring if I do this one. So we'll go along round and dot, and then you can join those lines, and you've got a rough line of cut. So yeah, so I'm going to finish up this process. I won't throw away the inners. I've already got a use for this one, which is for my, gonna build a base out of it, but that's a totally different project. So yeah, so I'll keep getting this done, and bring you back when I get to the gluing. This is a terrain for a wargaming event, so it needs to be a bit harder and tougher than my usual. So I am going to base it on wood, because you need to, I think I'm going to need to. So this is going to be a fun project, and it's really kicking my mojo back into gear actually. I'm really pleased that I'm doing this, because I was feeling quite down there, and now I'm getting one with this, and I've got a couple more projects to finish, and this looks like it might be the impetus to get me going. Well, I managed to get these painted up. Really pleased. Did some kind of like rust effect on the keys, and as I say, I just went for very basic washes and contrast paints for the little figures, because I just need to know which colours which, so you can keep your ordering track, which is what I struggled with when I played for the first time. So now I've got that, pretty happy. I'm going to I'm gonna have another game at some point soon, I think. But yeah, just happy to get those done. Very quick project, got me back to the painting desk. I've not really been feeling the love for any hobbying, so having something small like this has been really good to kind of break that down and just get me doing something that doesn't feel overwhelming. Yeah, finished it in a week, which is good. I'm probably going to try to get a little bit more painting done, get a few more painting projects, and I'm probably going to film them a bit more, because I think that also helps with my motivation. So I'll introduce and show the results a little bit more regularly on my vlogs. Right, so it's not quite the end of October, it's the 30th, but I have finished my bust a month for this, and this is the last bust of all of those ones that I started off doing all the way back in January. So next up, before the end of the year, I want to have a display done which will name them and date them and what have you, so I'll be bringing you along for that journey as well. That's going to be the final part of this. But I do have 2 months left of the year, and I have one more from Printermancer, who made all these ones I've done so far this year, that I want to paint, and it's a little bit different, a little bit more awesome. So let me move that out the way and show you this. Not sure how far back I'll need to set that for you to be able to see it. Maybe zoom out a little bit. So there we are. So he's done another couple of Kickstarters since the busts one, and this is one of them. I've assembled it, as you see. It comes in 3 parts, and it's just beautiful. So I'm going to paint the one up this month, and that will also go onto the display. And then December I've got something completely different. So anyway, yeah, there we are. So pleased to have managed, despite everything, to get this done and working. Very pleased. I didn't know that I was going to be able to with how I've been this month, but I've managed it, and I think that this little one definitely is a suitable addition and has come out very nicely. Very pleased. Well, there we are. Back to a little bit more like my usual length of vlog, though still not quite as productive as I normally am in the week, but I've got lots of other stuff done, so it doesn't matter, does it? As I keep saying, and I will keep saying, it is only a hobby, it's not a job, so do what you enjoy. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I do reply to every single one of your comments. They really inspire me, so don't be shy, do say hello. That's the thing that I care about the most, is those comments, and yeah, they are what keeps me going, particularly through the kind of little bit of a bad time last couple of weeks I've had. I'm glad that I'm coming out of it. That's always a nice feeling. So if you made it this far, thank you so much, I really do appreciate it. I'll wrap up by saying, as I always do at the moment, if any of you are directly or indirectly impacted by the horrible war in Ukraine, then my thoughts go out to you and anyone you know who might be. Can't believe it's still going on 9 months or 8 months. Is it 8 months now? 9 months? It's crazy. And to everyone, please do stay healthy, stay safe, and stay well.